Have you ever felt like an animal was watching you? Maybe you walked through a park and noticed a crow staring from a tree. You kept walking, but the crow didn't look away. Now imagine that same crow remembers your face. Not for a day, not for a month, but for years. It sounds impossible. After all, it's just a bird. But scientists have discovered something surprising. Crows don't just recognize human faces, they remember them. They know who is kind, who is dangerous, and they can even warn other crows about specific people. In some places, entire groups of crows have been seen following the same person, simply because one crow recognized them. So how can a bird remember faces better than many people? And why would it need such an incredible memory? Today, we're uncovering the hidden world of crow intelligence, a world so remarkable that it has changed the way scientists think about bird brains forever. Most people don't think much about crows. They are everywhere. On rooftops, in parks, on telephone wires. Many people see them as noisy birds looking for food. But behind those black feathers is one of the most intelligent animals on Earth. A crow's brain is much smaller than a human brain. In fact, it is only about the size of your thumb. Yet scientists have found that crows can solve puzzles, use tools, recognize patterns, count small numbers, and even plan for the future. Some experiments show that crows can solve problems that young children also solve. That's an incredible achievement for a bird. Unlike many animals that act only on instinct, crows learn from experience. They remember what works, they remember what doesn't, and most importantly, they remember people. Their intelligence helped them survive for millions of years. Instead of living only in forests, crows learn to live beside humans. Today, they can be found in busy cities, quiet villages, mountains, beaches, and farmland. Wherever people go, crows seem to find a way to survive. That success is not because they are stronger than other birds. It's because they are smarter. In 2006, scientists at the University of Washington wanted to answer a strange question. Could a crow recognize a human face? To find out, researchers wore a scary rubber mask while gently catching a few wild crows for a short health check. The birds were not harmed. After a few minutes, they were released back into the wild. Days later, the scientists returned. Only one thing was different. They wore the same mask. The reaction was immediate. The crows began calling loudly. They flew from tree to tree. More crows arrived. Within minutes, a whole group was following the person wearing the mask. But something even stranger happened. Years passed. New generations of crows were born. The scientists repeated the experiment. The same mask still caused alarm. Even young crows that had never been captured reacted with fear. How? The older birds had taught the younger ones. Without using words, without writing anything down, the crows had passed the information from one generation to the next. It was one of the first clear demonstrations that wild birds could teach each other to recognize specific human faces. Scientists were amazed. The crows had turned one person's face into a warning that lasted for years. Have you ever wondered how a crow can tell one person from another? After all, thousands of people walk through the same park every day. To us, one crow may look just like another. But to a crow, every human face is different. Scientists believe crows pay close attention to our eyes, the shape of our face, the way we walk, and even how we move our bodies. They don't simply remember a jacket or a hat, they remember you. In one experiment, researchers changed their clothes but kept the same face uncovered. The crows still recognized them immediately. That showed the birds were not looking at clothing. They were studying faces. Just like humans recognize friends and family, crows build a memory of the people they meet. Every good experience becomes a safe memory. Every bad experience becomes a warning. And unlike many animals, those memories can last for years. That is one reason crows are so successful. They don't make the same mistake twice. Instead, they learn from every encounter and use that knowledge to protect themselves and their families. Imagine this. A crow has a bad experience with a person. Maybe someone throws a stone. Maybe someone destroys its nest. Maybe someone tries to catch it. The crow flies away safely, but the story doesn't end there. Instead of keeping the danger to itself, the crow begins calling loudly. Other crows quickly arrive. Those loud calls are more than random noise. They are warning signals. The first crow is telling the others that danger is nearby. Soon, Several crows begin watching the same person. Sometimes they follow that person through the park. Sometimes they keep their distance while making loud alarm calls. Scientists believe this behavior helps protect the entire group, but it becomes even more amazing. Young crows often watch the older birds. They learn which people are dangerous without ever meeting them before. In other words, knowledge is passed from one generation to the next. It is almost like parents teaching their children. The younger birds remember these lessons long after the older birds are gone. This means one bad decision around crows today could be remembered by birds that weren't even born yet. That is an incredible example of learning in the animal world. Most animals live in the present. They think about finding food, staying safe, and getting through the day. But crows can do something unusual. They can plan for the future. In one famous experiment, scientists gave crows a simple puzzle. The birds quickly learned that they needed a small tool to unlock a food box. Then the puzzle was taken away. Several hours later, the scientists returned. This time, the crows were given different objects. Only one object would help them open the food box later. Without seeing the puzzle again, many crows picked the correct tool and kept it. Hours later, when the food box returned, they used the tool they had saved. The birds were thinking about a problem that did not exist yet. That is something very few animals can do. Some scientists compare this ability to the way humans prepare for tomorrow. A crow may hide food today because it knows tomorrow could be different. It may save a useful object because it expects to need it later. That kind of thinking takes memory, experience, and imagination. It is another reason why crows continue to surprise researchers around the world. Imagine someone being rude to you. You might remember that person for a long time. Crows can do something very similar. If a crow has a bad experience with someone, it often avoids that person in the future. But sometimes it goes even further. Scientists have watched crows warn each other whenever that person appears again. The warning spreads from bird to bird. Soon, several crows know exactly who to avoid. This isn't revenge, it's survival. By remembering danger, crows protect themselves and their families. But crows also remember kindness. People who regularly feed crows often notice something amazing. The birds begin waiting for them. Some even fly over to greet the same person every day. Over time, trust grows. The relationship becomes familiar. There are even stories of wild crows leaving small gifts for people who feed them. Buttons, shiny stones, tiny pieces of colorful glass. Scientists believe these gifts are rare, but they show something remarkable. Crows can build long-term relationships with humans. They don't judge every person the same way. Instead, they remember each individual, just like we do. That ability is one more reason crows are unlike almost any other bird. For many years, scientists believed that only animals with large brains could be highly intelligent. Then they studied crows, and everything changed. A crow's brain is much smaller than a human brain. But size isn't everything. What matters is how the brain works. Inside a crow's brain are millions of tightly packed neurons. These nerve cells allow the bird to think, learn, and solve problems very quickly. Some scientists even compare certain parts of a crow's brain to those of monkeys and great apes. That doesn't mean crows think exactly like humans, but it does mean they can solve surprisingly complex problems. They can make decisions. They can remember the past. They can plan for the future. They can recognize individual people. And they can teach other crows what they have learned. Very few animals can do all of these things. That is why many researchers now believe crows are among the most intelligent birds on Earth. Every new discovery reminds us that intelligence comes in many different forms. Sometimes it wears black feathers. For thousands of years, crows have watched us. They have lived beside our homes, walked through our parks, built nests in our trees, and quietly adapted to a world that humans changed forever. While we were busy building cities, they were busy learning. Learning our faces, learning our habits, learning how to survive. Perhaps that is why they are still here today. The next time you hear a crow calling from a nearby tree, or see one watching from a rooftop, remember, It might not just be looking at you. It might be studying you, watching, learning, and maybe remembering. Sometimes the greatest mystery in nature isn't hidden deep in the jungle or at the bottom of the ocean. Sometimes it's sitting quietly on the nearest branch, waiting for us to notice. If you enjoyed learning about one of the smartest birds on Earth, please take a second to like this video. It really helps the channel and lets us make more documentaries like this. If you're curious about the hidden lives of animals, subscribe to Animal Mind and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next adventure. Every week, we explore the amazing science, mysteries, and true stories behind the animals that share our world. Thanks for watching, and remember, the more we learn about animals, the more we understand ourselves. We'll see you in the next video.